It's Monday, April 8th, 2013, and let's talk about what happened this weekend over at xdadevelopers.com. And the first thing to talk about is the Asus Padphone 2. This device was just unveiled and I think released a few months back, and as of this weekend, XDA senior member Leidenberg has put together a script to do the big three R's: ROM, recovery, and root, but not necessarily in that order. But the thing I really liked about the story, and the reason why I chose to mention it here, he did it using a tutorial created on XDA that was talked about on the portal and on a previous video. Yes, the tutorial done by XDA recognized contributor Erased that was talking about creating scripts on Windows for automating things on Android, that was how he did it. Combined with the other stuff, of course, the root, the ROM, and the recovery. But definitely some very cool stuff out there, so if you have the Asus Padphone 2, or if it's just something that you're interested in, go ahead and take a look at his original thread to look over his script. You can read through it and everything and just make sure that it's going to be good for you. Now, the next item on the agenda was actually a bit of a controversy over the last week, maybe a little longer than that at this point. Recently, a change was merged into Cyanogenmod that turned off the ability to opt out of having your Cyanogenmod stats recorded. Up until that point, when you set up Cyanogenmod, it asks you if you want to turn it on or not, and you can always go into the menu and turn it on or turn it off. Like I said, a recent change in one of the nightlies removed that option entirely and just kept sending stats. Now, these are not directly identifiable information. It's stuff like the IMEI plus the MAC address encrypted and hashed out, and then some other very limited information like what version of Cyanogenmod you're running, things like that. Well, of course, when you remove an option like that, something that kind of screams privacy to a lot of people tend to freak out. So a vocal minority, perhaps even a vocal majority, stepped up and said, "No, you cannot remove the option to remove the option that you gave us." And all in all, there was a lot of frustration had, and they very, very quickly reversed that change. As far as I'm concerned, I would like to see it be an opt-out kind of thing where you first set it up and it is enabled by default, and you can go in and disable it if you want to disable it, as long as it just lets you know, by the way, stats are being recorded, nothing personally identifiable is going to be sent. But I still think that it's one of those things where they're making you opt in the beginning, and this is one of those things you probably ought to opt in for. That way we at least have some sort of an idea how many people are using Cyanogenmod, what kind of user base there is. Realistically, there's an article over on the XDA portal written by Conan Troutman that goes into what is being sent, why you should opt in, why it's helpful, things like that. So I would just recommend going ahead and taking a look over at the portal post. The link to that will always be in the video description, so you can take a look at it, just to get an idea as to why you might want to opt in to sending those Cyanogenmod stats, if you're not already. And actually, something extremely interesting to me happened this weekend. The second official XDA Roundtable session happened between Jerdog and someone from Nvidia, Will Park from Nvidia specifically. It was a little bit last minute, that's why I didn't get a chance to talk about it in the Friday video, because the post for it came out a little later in the day than I actually made the video. But they talked all about Project Shield, they went through a thorough examination of it, and Will revealed as much information as he was legally allowed to reveal about the product. I've got to say, after seeing that roundtable, I am extremely excited to get my hands on that device eventually. And what's even cooler is they did a giveaway during the roundtable session. They gave away 2 Nexus 7 devices. So if you have not already, you might want to check out the XDA Roundtable YouTube channel. You'll find that in the post on the portal, and you can go ahead and head on over there and subscribe. That way you'll get the notification that there's a live event happening. You can also follow over on Google+. I believe there were some notifications sent out, and of course the XDA portal had a link saying, by the way, there's going to be an event on Saturday at this certain time. Unfortunately, I missed out on seeing it live because I was out at the zoo with my family, but I did manage to watch most of it after the fact, and very, very cool stuff there. And additionally, this weekend, 2 other videos were posted to XDA Developer TV. The first was an app shootout showing all the different versions of Twitter by Steve, specifically the versions for Android, iOS, and Windows Phone. Those are the 3 things he tends to cover. And on Sunday, Jace put out the next video in his Careers in Android series talking about rating different hacker schools. So if that's a topic that interests you, definitely make sure to watch that video. But as for me, that's going to be about all for today. If you like this video, do make sure to hit that like button down below and hit the subscribe button to be notified when we put out new content. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again on Friday.